Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. We will be underway shortly with qualification, and we'll be jumping straight to Q2, but we'll run through that once we start transmission, so don't go away. De France. This is F1 tonight. Very fast track, a lot of twists and turns. They're ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are off for the start of the F1 tonight. French Grand Prix. State lead, Seb Bogart, second, Basta Green, third, Nicky Visser. Oh, Nicky Visser moves now, Guido Eschon's got third and four, and Nicky Visser dropping down into sixth, Guido Eschon number 5, Ryan Troney's moved up into fourth place now in the Williams. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 tonight. This is season 5, race 8. And we are here in France at the Paul Ricard circuit, and joined in the commentary box, I am joined in the commentary box by Adrian. Good evening, Adrian.
Good evening, Eddie. Sorry about that. I've got to check the box. That was a bit weird, a bit deja vu.
Yeah, got to remember, Adrian, turn the mic on. Adrian, turn the mic on.
But at least I'm here.
Indeed, we missed you last week in Canada. Gotta say, Gilles Villeneuve circuit certainly delivered last week. I don't know if you caught the stream at all.
Yeah, I managed to watch it. It was definitely an exciting race. And I'm really sort of disappointed that I wasn't able to be there. It wasn't for a lack of willingness. It was just for a lack of working technology.
A lack of a working Xbox, really. So, just to advise everybody this evening, we are working with 15 drivers. So, who do we not have with us this evening? We don't have the Mercedes drivers, Boy Williamson and Nicky Visser. We don't have Jamie Collane with McLaren, or indeed his teammate John Muss. And we also do not have Marcel France from Red Bull. However, we do have Hans van der Berg back.
Interesting. Not in the same car though. Of course, his McLaren was taken over by Jamie Collane. So he's now in the. Is he in the Williams?
Is it
now?
Collane or Collane? I'm saying Collane because you told me it was like cocaine but with an L.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, yes, Collane. Sorry. Yes.
That's okay then. I didn't, I just wanted to make sure I didn't have it wrong there. So he'll be disqualifying himself initially, and obviously the drivers then will progress from Q1 through to Q2. So while that is all going on, I'm just going to quickly switch to the current standings. And let's have a quick look at those as some of the guys are going out on track before we get too involved. Now, Damie Hartman is leading the way for Ferrari with 103 points. And he's 20 points ahead of Rob Moldering for Sauber with 83. Interesting 1-2 there for this season 5, Adrian, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same 1-2 in terms of cars. It's a different 1-2 in terms of the drivers at the moment.
Indeed. So, in third place, a familiar name for these standings is Seb Bogart in the Haas. And then we have fourth, John Donkel for Renault, and fifth, Basta Breen for Renault. Renault, team-wise, doing really well so far this season.
Yeah, they were, as I said at the start of the season, they're kind of my favourites to take the constructors. Not sure it's going sort of quite as they planned at this point, but it's not too bad for them. I think they've got a lot more to give. We've seen John Donkel take a win already. I think there's going to be a few more in the bag.
Well, I think it's going to be certainly very interesting from the point of view from a team perspective, but obviously Ferrari, Sauber and Haas not doing too bad either. So let's get back now to the racing, the main attraction of the day. Track temperature 32 degrees and the outside air is 23 degrees. So good racing, one would almost say optimum racing conditions there, Adrian.
Yeah, it's probably going to chuck down with rain at any minute now, just because you've said that. You've got a bit of a habit of jinxing drivers and weather and tyres and things.
What are you trying to say, Adrian? I'm a little bit disheartened by your comments there.
Well, let's just say I'm getting my umbrella out just in case.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, you can't argue with that. So, as we can see, some of the drivers just going out, getting a little bit of tarmac under their tyres. Now, tyres. Interesting, this track here, because it is very, very much high-speed corner track. Although that said, you've got some very, very tricky sections as well, haven't you? I mean, I would say, in particular, when you're looking at the first sector, that's probably the trickiest. And the third sector is with a little bit of sort of long straights and high speed in between, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly one of my favourite tracks. So I'm just looking at the grid. I think I think a possible restart is happening. Lots of drivers have retired before starting a lap. I wonder if there's a possible
because
glitch.
it's Q1. No, Q1, we've only got 15 drivers.
Sorry, apologies, yes, probably. I'm really on the ball tonight, aren't I? Yeah, fantastic. Didn't check my mic, and yeah, completely ignored all the information given to me beforehand.
Don't worry about it, Adrian. It happens to the best of us. It really does. You're not alone, not by any stretch of the imagination. No, obviously the guys just getting, as I said, a little bit of tarmac under their tyres just to get a feel for the track. But obviously it is a relatively new track, really, as it stands at this moment to the F1 calendar. But it is it is uber fast, it has to be said, certainly for the length of the track.
Yeah. It's as I said, it's one of my favourite tracks. It is a very lots of sort of fast sweeping corners. I don't know if you managed to catch the Synergy Division 2 race last season or season 1. I did actually manage to grab my second win at this circuit. It was a little bit unexpected because I didn't feel too pacey, but it felt comfortable. And as I say, it's certainly my favourite track to drive. On the calendar at the moment.
Well, I've got to say, I mean, I often say with a number of the tracks, it's getting into the rhythm of that track. It's getting into the feel, the flow of it. And once you achieve that, then that's really half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just about getting. I see why the drivers are going out in Q1, despite skipping their session, is just to try and get a feel for the track. So the quicker you can get into that rhythm, the sooner you're going to start setting fast lap times and consistent lap times as well.
Yeah, because it is obviously it is about speed, but it is also about. So we'll certainly see it. We're going to go into Q2. We will have obviously the 15, I think we might be down to 14 because Hans van der Berg obviously has that penalty that he's serving. But we'll see as we go in. I think only Baz de Breen remaining the host there, just making sure that everybody else has advanced on. And we'll run through the drivers and doing. Expectations for this one, obviously, it's pretty close in that championship as we saw. Certainly in the top two, but very much so in that third, fourth and fifth place. So that final third place, as it stands at this moment, is very much up for grabs, isn't it?
Yeah, there's only 9 points between the three of them there, and and two of them finished first and second in the championship last season. So I'd say that's pretty tight. And even Damien Hartman out in front there, 20 points clear of second place. I don't think he is by any means safe at this stage.
No, I don't think he is. I mean, obviously we are race 8 of 21. We're coming up. Well, almost, well, we are over a third of the way through. But that said, I think it's still anybody's championship. I mean, we've seen quite a number of wins. Rob Moldrink has won 2, Australia and Canada. Seb Bogart's won 2, Bahrain, Baku. Baz de Breen won China, John Donkel, Spain, Monaco, Damie Hartman. So it's been quite a mix, certainly, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I have to say about Damien Hartman's win in Monaco, what race that actually was. He did very, very well. A bit lucky as well, actually. Sort of at the end of that race, he was P3 for most of it, and the 2 guys in front of him had a bit of an instant in the latter stages, and he managed to capitalise on that. So, fair play to him for being in the right place at the right time. Also at Baku, you remember he was putting double champion Bogart under extreme pressure at the end of the race. Well, all throughout the entire race, and just finished. It was something like 0.036 seconds behind him, which I think is F1 Tonight's smallest winning margin ever.
It was definitely in the hundreds. I mean, there was no two ways about it. It was certainly in the hundreds. So yeah, I mean, it is a great championship this season, and plenty of variety and mix in there. We're running on board at the moment with John Donkel, first man out of the pits, and John's really been showing some great speed and some really good racecraft this season. We saw it towards the end of middle sort of tail of season 4, but he's really sort of brought it on, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, I mean, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to John. I had him as at the end of last season. He was in my mind a sort of mid pack driver, but I have to say he's massively improved. From my own perspective, since then. I mean, he excelled at Spain, just completely. Almost ignored the pressure that Damien Hartman was putting him under, and that was a guy that was putting Bogart under pressure at the previous race. So, yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of respect for John. He's definitely on the way up, and one to watch in the championship as well.
Definitely. Baz de Breen, his teammate, still in the pits. He's currently 5th in the championship, former winner. He's on 59 points. He's been a bit unlucky, really, this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he's last season he's one of the most consistent drivers, second in the championship to his teammate, and this season, I don't know whether he's, I want to say doing a Vettel, but I don't think it's quite that bad at this point. But
I think he's just been really unfortunate in some of the situations that he's been involved in, and I think that just hasn't helped him. But Renault are looking very solid in the Constructors' Championship. I don't actually have those to hand, but I'm pretty sure they are heading up the Constructors at this moment in time. Now, third place man, Seb Bogart. Now, obviously, change of car for him into the Hassie, still in the pits as well, hasn't come out as yet. But he's not looking too bad. He's having a pretty good season so far, I would say, really, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I've got my eye on him for pretty much every race. I think he's probably gonna. I don't want to sort of commit and say who's going to win this race at this point. We're only in Q2 at the moment, but we'll see how Q3 goes, and I'll make my call then. But he's top of my list at the moment.
Yeah, and he does certainly deliver great on the strategy, no two ways about it, and very, very good indeed. Right, now the front runners, Guido Airshine setting the fastest time there with a 1:31.782. He's on the ultra soft. Rob 1/10 off the back of him, but on the super softs in that Sauber. Rob Moldrink currently third in the championship. Sorry, not third, second in the championship. Really strong season for him so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been it's been great for him actually. The start of the season so far, he's had some moments, hasn't he, where he's sort of been pushing just so hard. He seems to give it 100% all the time, which in a 100% distance race you
Yeah.
can't do. You can't
Sometimes
treat
the
it like a 5-lap.
red mist descends, as we know, at Monaco, and I think that's probably more what we're referring to. The red mist just descended there, didn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's been some other sort of mistakes that he's made on previous races. Azerbaijan, for example, disqualified himself for
Yeah.
resetting to track, which obviously this league doesn't allow, which is a bit, it's a little bit of a silly one. But yeah, he's been. I think he needs to sort of, I don't know, kind of just take
Harness the
control of
aggression in a
himself.
more
Yes,
positive way.
spot on. Exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you.
That's okay,
Yeah,
mate.
just,
No worries. No worries. So that's Rob Mouldering as it stands at this moment in time. Damien Hartman, our championship leader, out on track at the moment, not set a time as yet. He's on the super as well. And remember, the guys that qualify in the top 10 here will be starting on the tyres that they effectively set their time on in this queue. Big message coming out there from Rob Mouldering, obviously, on the super softs, and Damien Hartman as well. They're going to certainly be looking to try and start on those, aren't they? Clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they might do a little dummy onto the one of the other tyres at the end of this session, because I'm not actually too sure how quick those laps that they've set are in terms of sort of everyone else. I don't think they are, maximum pace on those tyres.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare on there. It's a bit of a surprise there, Guido Airshine. I mean, we know Guido can certainly lay it down when he needs to. A little bit different, obviously, when it comes to the races at times. We've sort of questioned that he does seem to have a bit more of an issue when it comes to tyre wear, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does. He does a bit. Yeah, I mean, he's made some sort of rather strange strategy calls as well in the past. But yeah, I mean, overall, certainly a pacey driver. Just needs to try and manage the tyre wear perhaps slightly better.
Well, he's certainly put in a great show here in this Q2 so far. Fastest at this moment in time, as I said, by 1/10. Rob Mouldering. Martin Cooper in the Ferrari. Martin, I don't think he's really had the season that he was hoping for. He's 13th in the championship at the moment on 16 points, but he's shown some great racecraft in a number of the races, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly a good driver. I think he just he's got the consistency. I don't know whether his sort of pace at this point in time is sort of on par with the drivers around him at this stage. But yeah, I mean, he's certainly got very excellent racecraft.
And it's interesting now that those top three are indeed the ultra soft runners, followed then by the super softs, and heading them up is was Basta Breen. Seth Bogart, as I was literally just saying that, just set a 1:30.682, so 1.1 seconds faster than Erskine, and on a slower set of tyres than super softs.
Yeah, I was just watching the the lap time there. Purple win all three sectors quite obviously, and yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't think that 31.7 that wasn't. I don't think that's Shine's sort of maximum pace, and indeed Rob Mouldering as well on the same tyre, a tenth behind.
So that in mind, at this moment in time, obviously Kevin van Delft, Hans van der Berg, new in the Williams, not new to this racing. He's currently in the pits as well. Mark Stappers in the Sauber and Peter Phillips in the Rosso. I've got to say, very good drivers there. They're just waiting for that track to get a little bit more seasoned in, aren't they, by the looks of it?
Yeah, it does look like it, doesn't it? Yeah, we know they haven't even set one lap yet. We've still got just over 5 minutes to go. Yeah, I think they're just waiting for the track to get completely sort of green and worn in, and the rubber down, and yeah, so they can optimise the lap.
Well, it's going to be interesting, and I'm certainly going to expect something interesting from the new Williams driver, Hans van der Berg. Was formerly with McLaren, and he did have his rookie season. A little bit of a hiccup during the season, but good to see him back, certainly. Placed third in Australia in his first race, and was, really always pretty much involved in the action on the races subsequent to that.
Yeah, it's no mean feat getting a podium in this league, and yeah, he managed to do it on the first time of asking. So he's definitely got raw pace, raw pace there to his laps, and indeed to his racecraft, to his tyre wear. Yeah, it's good to see him back.
So we're starting to see a little bit more now of a development. Mark Strapper's in the Sauber, currently P9 on 132.7. Marco Pullen was in, I think he may have DNF'd or crashed out there, didn't catch that. He's on a 132.455. Where do you think we're going to see that drop? Is it going to be sort of, I think it's going to be probably down to Danny Harmon actually on those low 132s, I think.
Yeah, I think it might be just inside the 32 mark. To be perfectly honest, I think well, we're in Q2, so drivers might be reluctant to set another lap, knowing that they're going to be eating in.
Hans van der Berg will not be going out because he'll be starting at the back of the pack because he's obviously suffering that penalty from coming back in, so that's why he hasn't gone out on track. But still, it's going to be very interesting to see, certainly from the start of the race, how he's going to come in and what do you think he's going to go on? He set those ultra softs. He's got the ultra softs on at the moment in the pit. Is that what he's going to be looking to start this race on?
I would imagine probably not. I mean, if it was myself, I'd starting at the back or close to the back. I would rather start on a harder tyre. I might even start this race on the what's the next one up from the super soft available at this circuit? Is it the soft? Or is
it is the ultra soft.
Medium. No, sorry.
Oh, sorry, it's a soft. Sorry, it's a soft. It's a soft. Yeah, so you've got the soft yellow wall tyre, the harder tyre. You've got the mid-range tyre, the super soft, and then the soft tyre being the ultra soft or the purple wall tyre.
Yeah, that's why I can't wait for next year's game because it just simplifies it all soft, medium, hard, and that is it.
It does simplify it, but the reality is that they're all different tyres from the tracks. Yeah. There are actually, if I remember right, I think is it 9 or 10 tyre types.
I heard there were 5 compounds, 5 dry compounds, C1 to C5.
Sorry, yes, sorry, you're absolutely right. Yeah, no, there are no, you're you're absolutely correct. There are 5 compounds, C1 to 5, and then they choose the 3 appropriate for the track. So you've only got 3 tyres effectively.
Yeah, that's right. We, as the viewer or indeed the commentator, don't have to think about which ones they're actually using. So that's one less thing to worry about.
Ooh, that'll help me then. I've got to be honest. You know, when it comes to technicality, that's why I got you, Adrian. You know, let's be fair.
God, I'm not on form today, so I'm not sure about that.
Well, don't worry, it's not too bad there. Now, Sander Hermans, we were saying we're going to be looking at the 132s. He's currently P9 on that 132.315. Marcel Dronig sitting on 11 with a 132.818. Marco Pullen's time, that 132.455, still standing. Marcel Dronig doesn't improve on that time. John Donkel, he's out on track at the moment. We've only got a minute and a half remaining, so this is now the time to do it.
Donkel's about to improve his lap. This is quite a significant improvement. I think this is easily inside the top 10. It's going to push out Marco Pullen, who has actually retired.
So he's coming round. Final corner.
Dronig on a fast lap as well.
John Donkel comes over the line, takes him into P6, 131.9.
Baz de Breen's just gone purple in the first sector on the ultra softs.
So let's go with Baz de Breen now. He's in the second sector.
Although, Dronig's just crossed the second sector line. He is about to improve, so he's gonna push Sander Hermans out, and I don't think Sander Hermans is. No, Hermans is out on track and is improving.
Well, 132.818 is the time that Dronig set previously. He needs to beat 132.315. That's Sander Hermans. We're currently on board with Baz de Breen as he's in the final sector 3. It's looking good from my end. How's it looking from your side there, Adrian?
Yeah, decent second sector. I think it's going to be top 3 at this point. And
around the final corner
P5.
onto the straight.
Droner's just gone P5, pushed Sander
You
Hermans
have
out.
131.827. Baz de Bruyne 130.825, 2/10 off his former teammate Seb Bogart. Damie Hartman goes a 131.174. Peter Phillips 131.434 in that Toro Rosso, and Peter, he's really showing some great form. Really, this is his season so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know where this where this has all come from, but yeah, Peter Phillips is he seems to be having a sort of dream season at the moment. Well, fair play to him. Well done.
P5, Guido Airshine 6, Marcel Dronig 7, Rob Mouldering 8, and John Donkel in the pit still 9. Martin Pardercooper is 10, so he sneaks in the drop zone. But no, that's it. He's done it. Sander Hermans, he'll be starting row 6, P11. Alongside him will be Marco Pullen in the Force India. Row 7, Kevin van Delft. And alongside him, his teammate, Hans van der Berg, his new teammate in the Williams. And I believe John Musk, but I don't think he is ready. Well, I'm not too sure. John Musk looks as if he'll be starting there in row 8P15. So through are the top 10 there. Seb Bogart, Baz de Bruyne, Peter Phillips. I mean, Marcel Dronig, got to say, he took a second out of his previous best there. He was on a 132.8 and then went to a 131.8. So good improvement there from him.
Yeah, great stuff.
What are you thinking? I mean, who are you looking at pole for this, do you think?
It's gonna be tight. I think De Bruyne might take it. I know. I appreciate De Bruyne's on the fast, slower lap than his former teammate, but I think he's going to take it.
Well, I've got to say, yep.
Sorry, Eddie. I just want to say one more thing. We didn't quite catch it, but yeah, Sander Hermans' lap. I know he's ended up dropping out. He was on for around sort of P5 or 6, and ended up losing all his time in the final sector. I think it was the last couple of corners. So it's because of that he is knocked out.
Oh dear. Well, that is a shame, certainly. But well, we have those are top 10: Seb Bogart, Baz de Bruyne, Peter Phillips, Mark Stappers, Guido Airshine, Marcel Dronig, Rob Mouldering, John Donkel, Martin Pardercooper, Damie Hartman. I've got to say, I'm actually going to call Rob Mouldering for pole.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a feeling. I got a feeling. But interesting there, we've got Rob Mouldering and Seb Bogart starting on the ultra soft. So that's why I'm thinking Rob Mouldering there. If he gets onto those ultra softs, I think he can really put a vast improvement in there. So there's our top 10. We've gone through, obviously, the remaining guys, or 5 guys as they stand, and where they will be. We know that Hans van der Berg will be starting at the back. It looks like he's going to be starting in the ultra softs. I think we're going to need to keep an eye on him for the start of this race. So,
Eddie,
there we have...
Sorry, Eddie, we've lost Damie Hartman. I don't know what happened then. Did he retire? Did he retire? Because I saw him in P10, even though he set a 30. What was it? A 31.1. It put him 10th.
Could be connection issues.
Okay.
So connection issues we take here on F1 tonight as in fact effectively be the comparison to the real world is technical issues really.
Yeah.
So I think Seb Bogart is actually the first man out on track. So let's run. Yep, Seb Bogart in the house is the first man out on track. So it could be that Damie Hartman is out due to technical issues for this French Grand Prix, and that's certainly going to have a knock-on effect, isn't it? He's only 20 points ahead of Rob Mouldering at this moment in time. That's
what I mean. He's the championship leader, and he'll be starting from P10 if he's lucky. If he can, so whatever the issue was out. I don't. I'm a little bit confused, but it's one of those things, unfortunately. But keep an eye on this session. Well, as they like to say, Scheisse does happen. So. Apologies for any German viewers there. I would say it in French, but it's far too obvious. So Indeed. Here we are. This is F1 tonight, Season 5, Race 8
And we are here at the Paul Ricard circuit in France, La Belle France. And it certainly is a fantastic track. Great sector one, really puts a little bit of everything in there. And we're going through twists and turns. Here's sector 3 here, obviously, that is on at the moment. Very, very fast sector 2 with those up by that Mistral chicane. And then that final sector 3 where you're basically coming double back on yourself. You're doing a bit of an oxbow lake around that sector 3, aren't you?
Yeah, it's very sort of technical, that last section, and it's easy to see why you can end up losing your entire lap in that area.
Well, we are now down to 9 minutes 30. My esteemed colleague here has called Baz de Breen for pole, and I've gone for Rob Mouldering. I think we're probably missing out on the obvious, which is the guy that we're on board with at the moment.
Yeah, I never quite want to call the obvious. I like to keep it interesting.
No, you don't really. You don't want to make it too obvious, do you? It just detracts from the whole thing.
De Breen fastest in the first sector of the 4 drivers that have crossed that line. Not by much. Smidge quicker than his teammate, actually. John Donker, they're the 2 fastest at the moment, 2 Renaults.
So the Renaults are faster at this moment in time. We'll switch to Baz de Breen as we close this lap with Seb Bogart in the Haas, obviously the opening lap. And it's not looking too bad. I think we're looking at a 130. Oh, not a good exit out of 15 though. It is a 133. So that puts him obviously in provisional P1. Baz de Breen now coming round the final corner in his Renault.
It's going to be tough to beat.
And he does a 133.91. Good grief, 3/100ths off Seb Bogart's time. John Donkel, 131.183. Guido Airshine, 131.5. Rob Mouldering coming round now in sector 3, final set of corners. That doesn't look to me as if he's setting a time there, though. That's he's obviously gone off there.
No, it's an invalidated lap there.
Invalidated lap. Martin Parder-Cooper coming round, but I think that's going to be around about a 132 as it stands at this moment in time. Yeah, 132.1. Puts him in provisional 5th. And Marcel Dronig jumps in there in 5th, pushes Martin Parder-Cooper to 6th with a 131.847. So Dronig not looking too shabby at this moment in time, but we do see this from Dronig. Again, he does do well on the qualifying, but it's on his strategy for the actual races himself. I mean, I think he's probably the guy that pits the most, as far as I'm aware, next to somebody like Zander Hermans, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think luck has a little bit to do with it as well. Often you can sort of do everything right in your race and still, find yourself in these situations where you do need to sort of pit, outside your pit windows. But yeah, I think this seems to be a track that I think he enjoys from just sort of watching him, and in terms of his pace. I just want to jump to De Breen for a second. I know he's only sort of a couple of hundreds, as you say, behind Bogard. 3/10 were lost on Bogard in the last sector for De Breen, so I think he's got more to give. But then I also think Bogard might have a bit more to give also.
I think Bogard has, because I don't think he did that exit on 15 as well as he would have liked to. It looked...
Sorry, Mouldering's just gone 3rd. Sorry, yeah, he just went faster in the 2nd sector. Again, lost a couple of tenths to Bogard in the last sector. So yeah, he could well be on for pole if he puts his lap together.
Well, Rob Mouldering on a 130.5, 2 tenths, well, just under 2 tenths, about 1.5 tenths off Seb Bogard's time, under 2 tenths off Baz de Breen's. So, yeah, I mean, he needs to really pull the stops out. I'm still thinking he can do it. He's the man that can string it together. But that said, Bogart is now coming out on track. Baz de Breen is still in the pits. Donkel, Ershine in the pits, as is Marcel Dronig. Martin Parder-Cooper still out on track. He's provisional P6, row 3 at this moment in time. And Peter Phillips, he's row 4, P8. Mark Stapper's on an outlap now, yet to set a time. So see what happens there. We're riding on board with Rob Mouldering now.
Yeah, he hasn't got enough energy in the car. He's still
I was
on a
about to
hot
say,
lap,
I don't.
he hasn't got enough energy to improve his lap. He improved his first sector, but as soon as the ERS ran out, that's it.
If I were him, I'd just use this next lap to replenish his ERS and then go for it again.
Yeah.
The only problem is how many laps he's actually done on those ultra softs. And he's only done one lap, but he is into the pits. Yeah, so he's going to have a quick boost, get back out there as quickly as he can. And
that's probably
Seb Bogart.
So that's probably more for
now.
That's more for fuel than for tyres, I'd imagine. Aldrin coming in.
Yeah, that's another one. How do you fuel up for this?
Yeah. Well, personally, I normally put in sort of 4.5 laps, so it gives me an out lap, a hot lap, and then an extra hot lap if I've mucked up my original, which I often do. So, but then the disadvantage of that is you're a 1.5 kilos heavier than the other drivers if they've just fueled it for just one.
Yeah, I mean it's 53 laps. Obviously, is what we're looking at for this race. So you'd go a little bit over the 100%, or?
Oh yes. Well, for this track, I would underfuel slightly. I'd probably go 2 or 3 laps lower. I'd still use my rich mix in the middle sector with that fast sector, but the last sector you can save quite a lot of fuel on, I found. Bogart's actually gone purple in the first sector, beating his previous best by nearly, I think that's about half a tenth. It's not very much.
Well, we've only got
no, it's a full tenth.
3 minutes remaining. So can Seb Bogart get into the 132s? Certainly looks that way at this moment in time. Stappers is out on his lap now. He's coming round, I think, the final corner onto the straight. What can Stappers do? Not bad, a 131.3. So that puts him up into P5. That's a good show there from Stappers.
Yeah, it's a decent lap that, and I think you'd be proud of that. Faster than my my fastest lap, my quali lap at France. But
let's not forget, he is still the only man that runs. Still, I think the only man in the league, although some do run cockpit view, with cockpit view and no assists. And look at that, Seb Bogart sets a 1:30.41. That is a phenomenal lap there from Bogart.
Yeah, I mean his first sector was pretty good. Middle sector is kind of, I don't want to say average, but it's not spectacular. He's gaining all his time in that last sector. He seems to be the only one to be able to sort of do it under a 37.7. Nobody else can get close to that in that sector.
Oh, that is fantastic. I just went on board Rob Mouldering. He's not doing a fast lap now, but he is really trying to build up that ERS, generate as much heat as he can in those tyres. Baz de Breen is ahead of him on the track. I think, pretty sure he is actually going for a fast lap by the looks of it. So we haven't seen Rob Mouldering. Rob Mouldering will be right on the knockings of this session. He's going to set that time. Yeah. So let's keep an eye on that one, because that's going to be very interesting indeed. I think this is Baz de Breen's final attempt, though.
Oh, John Donkel, I think has he spun out?
He has spun out. Just trying to see where
really
that was.
Sector, somewhere sector
Baz de
3.
Breen comes into the pits. So Rob Mouldering now starting his uber fast lap. What can he deliver on this lap? I'm sure Adrian will let us know on the sector times.
Waiting for the update.
I was about to say, he's not completed sector 1 yet, so
purple
there he is, sector 2.
So far. Purple
so far, sector 1. So he's into sector 2 now, down that Mistral straight, broken up obviously by that chicane. I've got to say, this is my favourite set of corners on this track.
I love these. Yeah, I absolutely adore these these corners here. Yeah, easily my favourite part. He's not up by much in that first sector. It's less than a blink of an eye, literally. That second sector is not better than his best. I think that might be it. It's going to be difficult.
Well, he needs to make it up now in this third sector. He can do it. He certainly has the ability and the capability to do it. Seb Bogart at the moment is in that P1 position. Baz de Breen in the Renault alongside him P2. Rob Mouldering is P3. Can he break that? Can he get into that first row? And more importantly, can he get onto that podium start? That's what he's looking for here. Is he going to be able to deliver it? No, he doesn't. He settles for third place on the podium. Marcel Dronig comes across. He's still to complete his lap. He's he's gone off now. That's it.
I was going to say he was
out.
Previously invalid anyway.
So he's invalidated there. So there you have it. Seb Bogart, the obvious man we did not call, but no great surprise. He will be on pole position with that phenomenal 1:30.041. Really fantastic time there. Baz de Breen in the Renault will be alongside him with a 1:30.3. Rob Mouldering will be in the second row in his Sauber, 1:30.5. Alongside him will be John Donkel in the Renault, 1:31.183. So Renault happy there. Two cars in first and second row. Obviously, they would have liked it in the first row, but good show there again from Renault, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be they're the most consistent team in terms of sort of race results so far. As we said, they're they sit in 4th and 5th in the championship at the moment.
Yeah. Marcel Dronig will be starting row 4 P5. Mark Stappers alongside him in row there, and then row 4 Guido Airshine, Martin Parder Cooper. And row 5 will be Peter Phillips. Sorry, Adrian, I cut you short there. I just wanted to quickly get the placings in there. You were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just saying. Yeah, they're 4th and 5th in the championship, but they're the only team to have more than one car in the top 5. And yeah, I mean it shows here because they are quick drivers, and they are they're both quick drivers, and they're both consistent drivers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly going to make for an exciting race. And where do you think we're going to see the issues here in that first lap? Obviously, we're going to certainly see. It's going to be very interesting through that first sector, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one to get right because you've got that. It's a long straight that actually leads onto that first turn. So with everyone sort of bunched up.
Yeah, I mean, that first turn, I think we might see okay. I think where it's going to get interesting is round turns 3, 4, and 5 as you're coming out of sector 1 into sector 2. I think that is where we're more likely to see some more interesting situations. Let's put it like that. But obviously, that turn 1 and 2, there are going to be those brave people that are going to want to try and dive in there and do the late break on that start. Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean the thing with that first turn is because it is sort of so far down the road, and you are kind of all bunched together when you start to brake. Some people's braking points are very different to other people's, and with you all close together like that, you haven't really got much time to react.
Well, that's really where you've got to be conscious of what the car ahead of you and to the side of you and behind you. You just basically got to have some serious spatial awareness, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think you're quite right though about the sort of hairy moments may come as the track starts to wind up, sort of beyond turn 3.
Yeah, definitely, because that is, to me, that is the trickiest. And one would almost say that almost the simplest corner, but to me that turn 6 into 7 is really tricky.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially if you've got the dirty air of another car in front of you as well. It can completely throw you off.
Yeah, definitely. So there we have Seb Bogart in the Haas. He's starting P1. Baz de Breen in the Renault will be alongside him. P2. Row 2, Rob Mouldering in the Sauber P3. Alongside him will be the second Renault of John Donkel. Then we have row 3, Marcel Dronig, P5 in the Haas. Haas looking strong, 2 cars in the top 5 for the start here. Mark Stappers, he's in row 3 there, P6 alongside Dronig. Sauber, so he's close to his teammate Mouldering as well. Guido Airshine in the Force India, he'll be starting row 4 P7 alongside him. Martin Pardagupa in the Ferrari. Row 5 P9, Peter Phillips in the Toro Rosso. Watch this man, he really has been performing some great racing this season, and I'm sure he's going to be a man to keep an eye on, especially in this race. Damie Hartman does start in P10. He's resolved his technical issues. He is back on track, thankfully. He is on the ultra softs, and that's certainly going to be interesting, to say the least. Have a quick look at the tyres there. Then we have Sander Hermans. He's starting row 6, P11 in the Toro Rosso. Alongside him, Marco Pullen in the Force India. Row 7, Kevin Van Delft in the Williams. Alongside him, the welcome return of Hans van der Berg. Definitely keep an eye on us. And look at that, he's gone for the softs. Interesting.
Yeah.
So he's
I
to
did
go
think he
deep
might.
into this. And John Muss bringing up the rear, the rookie McLaren driver for this season. Still finding his legs, but great to see him in the race. And I know that as time moves on, his racecraft will improve. So looking forward to seeing him completing this race. Certainly John Muss there in the McLaren bringing up the rear. This is going to be very interesting indeed. We've got a few out of place there, haven't we?
Yeah, you have with the likes of Damie Hartman in P10. Mark Stappers, I think this might be his best qualifying position, actually, P6.
Yeah,
do you want to call the call a race winner just before they start?
I'm still going to go with Mouldering.
You're going to Mouldering. I'm gonna switch to the other Renault, John Donkel, to win.
Okay, so let's see where we are. The lights are coming on. They are ready on the start, and we are off for the start of the Season 5 F1 tonight. French Grand Prix. Borg stays ahead. Mouldering there. Bastabreen. Oh, and Mouldering gets ahead of Seb Bogart as they're coming down to turn 1. Can he maintain that lead?
Wow.
Bastabreen moves on P3. John Donkel stays where he was, but Seb Bogart not really got a great start there. And look at this. Marcel Dronig challenging John Donkel, already there for that P4 position.
What a start from Mouldering. Absolutely amazing.
Fantastic start there, and he's starting to pull away a little bit already from Seb Bogart. Close in behind him, 5/10 off. Baz de Breen in there, but all clean through there. John Donkel still in 4th. He's got Marcel Dronig there, but Damie Hartman is pushing now on the back. He's already moved up 4 places in the first half of this lap. Is he about to take the Haas there of Marcel Dronig as they're coming into that Mistral chicane? He's charging through, isn't he, Adrian?
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing so well, and just keep an eye on him. There's lots of action in the midfield as well. Damien Hartman's,
Kevin Van Delft in the Williams moves up 5 places from P13 to P8. Good move there from Delft. Phillips stays where he is. Perlin's up 2. Stappers loses out though, drops down 5. We were saying great starting place there on P6. Oh, but he's dropped down to P11 now.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I didn't manage to see his start in particular. Might have jinxed him there, saying it's his best ever quali.
Pardagupa down 4, as is Sander Hermans. Right, we're starting lap 2. Mouldering setting the fast provisional time in that 1:40. He's got Seb Bogart though right on his gearbox. Baz de Breen close in, and John Donkel and Marcel Dronig. I mean, these top 5. There's only about 2 seconds separating them from 1 to 5 at this moment in time.
Yeah, and you've got to remember as well the drivers 3rd to 5th are and behind them are on the.
Rob Mouldering going wide
side.
out of 5 gives Seb Bogart the opportunity to close right down. And remember, they do not have DRS yet. It will not be until the following lap. But look at this, he is right on the gearbox there of Mouldering.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not waiting for DRS, is he? He's being aggressive early on, trying to put the pressure on and force the mistake. Good tactic.
Yeah, well, definitely a good tactic there. Tyre choice, though. both him and Seb Bogart, Moldering and Seb Bogart, are on the super softs.
Sorry, Eddie. We were saying about that Van Delft. He went up 5 places. He's just lost it in the chicane. He's now down to P13.
Yeah, seen that. Just seen that. Saw him drop down. Didn't catch the incident, but lost it in that Mistral chicane. 3-second time penalty for Mark Stappers. He's exceeding track limits there, so he's clearly pushing very hard. He's 2.2 seconds now behind Donkel, so he's dropped down behind these front runners, but still, what, 1.5, about 2.3 seconds between first and fourth at this moment in time. Very, very close indeed. Now, we've got DRS has now been enabled. Lap 3 underway. We're in that first sector. Let's go on board with Seb Bogart and see how Rob Maldron is looking now down through turn 3, 4, right hand 5. Much cleaner than on the previous laps on that exit round 6. So tricky. Now, Bogart will have DRS. He's 4/10 off the back of him. Can he break him into that Mistral chicane?
It's so tense.
Can't get ahead of him, but still very close up behind. Don't forget, we've got the second DRS on the exit of turn 15. That's the final corner on that start-finish straight. So, I mean, Bogart is clearly looking to make this move on track as soon as he possibly can, because they're both on the same compound tyres here. This is important.
Yeah, vitally. And as you say, they're on the same tyres. They are racing on track. This, it's not going to be determined by strategy. We'll wait and see about that. But I wonder if Moldering can manage his tyres better than Bogart, because it is advantage Moldering at the moment in terms of the tyres, as he's out in front getting less wear. I think Moldering may be able to work the overcut on Bogart.
Now Bogart's looking to make the move in turn 1. Doesn't have enough space. Backs off. He's just keeping it.
Yeah, he's keeping the pressure on, firmly on. Going to keep it on for as long as he possibly can, I'd imagine.
But again, this is an issue that we've discussed before, and as you touched on there, I think with the dirty air, that's why it's also important that he gets past Moldering as quickly as he possibly can, because you don't want to be riding in that dirty air, do you? Because it's going to affect your tyre wear dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. Van Delft's retired from the race. Sorry.
Van Delft has gone out.
Is that the first corner? I think it's turn 1. Sorry. As we
Bogart's just made the move
ahead.
into the chicane.
Sorry,
I was just watching that. That's okay. Bogart makes the move on the Mistral chicane, but Moldering is coming back. He's got that DRS, remember, let's not forget, as they're coming out of the final corner at the end of this sector 3. So he now needs to make sure that he stays on the gearbox of that Haas. That's the important thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's role reversal now, and but Moldering's going to try and turn the screw on Bogart.
Well, I think he's losing too much time at this moment in time. He needs to be at least, 3/10 off the back, and he's not going to do it. He's 7/10. He's not going to be able to make anything convincing. I think this now has given Bogart the opportunity to start pulling away from that Sauber.
Yeah, possibly. Bogart's using all the energy in that car to open up that gap. He's got nothing left. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on to the gap through those long straights either side of the chicane.
Well, we're coming round the end of sector 2 now. Sorry, sector 1 into sector 2. As they're coming into sector 2 now, this is
good exit though.
Straight broken up by that chicane. Great exit. I mean, he's really laying down the speed there. He's got 8/10 on Moldering at this time. He's got DRS on him, but I still don't think he's going to be able to close it down enough. It's not enough. He needs to be within 3 to 4/10 to make use of that DRS.
Yeah, I think that's very well played for Bogart there. Yeah, he made sure he got the perfect exit on the was it the exit of 6? Is it? Exit was 6 or 7?
On the exit of 6 into 7. 6,
Yeah.
well, sorry, 6, and then, but the exit 7 was the perfection one. He really laid down the power, got right over onto
That's
the
the one.
right-hand side of the track.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, did very well there.
Now, in the
I think he's out of
meantime,
DRS range.
Damie Hartman made the move on Marcel Dronig, so he is now up into P5. So, Damie Hartman now up into P5. And the other one we were keeping an eye on, Hans van der Berg, he's all up to P11. So, already up 4 places. And he is on those soft tyres. So, let's keep an eye on that. It's going to be interesting indeed. Ultra soft runners here. Obviously, we're looking at pretty much the midfield from 3 down to 8. I would hazard a guess that we're probably going to see them coming in round about sort of, start of this race, maybe mid-teens.
Yeah, it's going to be around that sort of window. Yeah, the ultra soft tire I find does actually work quite well.
It will go
on
longer.
France.
It will go longer. Yeah, they should go probably maybe to the 20s, but
yeah,
again, depending upon how many laps they did on qualifying on that. So certainly they should be able to go to the 20s. The super softs we'd expect to go to the 30s, and the softs, well, I mean, we could be seeing these. We've seen these stretched out quite a way, but I think we could certainly be looking to go mid-30s, maybe a little bit higher on these.
Yeah, the soft doesn't seem to wear out particularly quick. I'm at the moment. I'm just watching the battle actually unfold for P8. It's quite tight actually between
Peter Phillips, and Pullen, Pullen getting ahead of Phillips. But Phillips is definitely laying down the pressure there, isn't he? Look at this.
They've been toing and throwing actually. Those two in the front of this little pack. I think Parker Cooper was actually leading the pack at the start of this lap. It seems to be falling back slightly, and I think Van der Berg is going to make the most.
Because he's closing right in on the back of that Toro Rosso, and you've got Hans van der Berg as well now in the mix. And we were saying Van der Berg, good driver, so this is going to be very interesting here for this P10, 9 and 8 positions. Peter Phillips going into the pits, so that's released Parker Cooper to P9 and Pullen to P8, but we're riding on board with Hans van der Berg at this moment in time, and he is staring at, does he make the move? Yes, I think, no, he doesn't.
Parker Cooper went wide,
went wide, but van der Berg definitely applying the pressure here. He's looking to get past this Ferrari as soon as he possibly can.
Yeah, and I think that's the 3-second penalty for Van der Berg. Just cut the corner of the inside of 6. I think he's going to do it down this straight here with the DRS, and the ERS got plenty of energy in the car. He's not really using it though.
Doesn't make the move into the chicane. Can he do it on the exit? That is another favourite little spot there. Still on the gearbox of that Ferrari.
He needs to crank that ERS up, and the car will just glide past.
He is really pushing, certainly around his third sector. He seems to be a lot more comfortable around his third sector with these corners on that setup. You can see the Ferrari ahead of him just not quite dealing with the corners in the same way.
No. Yeah, it also doesn't seem to be turning the ERS down as well in these slower corners. He can save quite a bit of energy here, and then use it on the straight. Just seems to stick it in mode 2 and keep it there.
Well, I
maybe
think
a downfall.
That we should be looking at Hans van der Berg making the move now on this DRS straight.
Oh, they go up to 5. That's it.
Yeah. Pulls alongside him now. Can he make it stick through this turn 1 and 2? Yeah. Oh, and wheel to wheel there, but that was unfortunately Parker Cooper coming across, touching wheels with Hans van der Berg. So Parker Cooper spins out, drops back to P10. Strappers now moves up to P9, and that was rather unfortunate, but it was wheel to wheel action. But you know, Parker Cooper, he just misjudged it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he went quite deep into that corner. We've seen him go wide on that same corner twice in the last 2 laps prior to that moment, and it looks like he just got a little bit out of shape and lost the back end.
Well, Great
there
move
was
from
some will
Hans
to
van
will.
der Berg. He was in P11. He's now moved up to P8. And Marco Pullen as well. Great race from Marco Pullen as well. Let's be fair. He's up to P7 on those, and that is a position gain for him. I'm sure it is. Yes, it is. 5 places and 6 places for Hans van der Berg. So, you know, both doing very well there on those soft tyres. So these guys are going to be ones to keep an eye on, because they'll be able to go in a lot deeper. And the longer you're on that track without breaking it up, the more, I don't know, the more the flow comes to it. You definitely improve as the race goes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Erskine, Hartmann and Donkel all into the pits. The first Ultra Softs are all in. So that was only after 8 laps. So they did. Maybe it's the strategy. You know, the tyres maybe have more left in them, but it's the strategy that they're looking at here. And they've all gone on to the softs. I'm wondering if they're not looking to go. Well, I don't know. They're not looking to go to the end of this race, surely, are they?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. But you never quite know. I think if they do decide to stay on the softs, yeah, I think they'll certainly have to pit maybe once more onto the ultras in the sort of dying stages. The safety car at this point though could negatively affect that strategy. Get a safety car at the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, not necessarily the track we'd expect a safety car, though. I mean, obviously not a great deal of history that we can refer to on this, but it's not one of those tracks where you think you'd need a safety car, because there's just so much damn expanse.
There's lots of open area. Although having said that, you know, it's not impossible. Did have a safety car in the Division 2, the Division 1 race in France last season.
Well, yeah,
but yeah, I mean, yeah, if a car's parked sort of, sideways in the middle of the track, there's not a lot you can do about
there's
it.
not an awful lot you can do. So Droney coming in now off his set of Ultra Softs, and that has now pushed Hans van der Berg into provisional P4 and Marco Pullen into provisional P3. I think they're going to be quite happy with that tyre choice they made.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the right call to start this race on the soft tyre. Yeah, it's going well for both of them.
Very interesting indeed. Obviously, Seb Bogart leading this race, Rob Mouldering, they're both on the super soft, so they will be looking to go a bit deeper. Question is, how much deeper will they go? How deep will they go? We don't know. So there we have Hans van der Berg P4, Baz de Brie, he's in P5, he's on a fresh set of soft tyres. Damie Hartmann in a Ferrari, 5 seconds behind him, he's on a fresh set of softs as well. Guido Erskine has decided to go onto the super softs, so he's currently P7, and he's got John Donkel right on the back of him here now on a fresh set of softs. So what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think? Donkel's clearly going to be looking to make that move.
He's making it now.
Yeah,
he's done it
under
the
DRS.
DRS, yeah, easy move. In fairness, I'm slightly surprised by the call onto the super softs. He started the race on the supers. On the ultra soft. He's certainly going to have to stop again, probably onto another set of super softs, depending on how long he can make these last.
It's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on that strat there. Peter Phillips, he's gone strain one. He's gone to a set of super softs as well. Dronig also, and Zander Hermans did come in obviously considerably earlier onto those super softs. They're 8 laps old.
Erskine's just passed Donkel again in the DRS on the start and finish.
Yeah, just see that.
Turn one round the outside.
Move. So that was at the end of turn 1 with the DRS, gets back ahead of John Donkel, and convincingly starting to pull away actually. I think Donkel got caught a little bit off guard there.
Yeah, and Donkel had no energy in the car. Oh, there is this yellow flag in sector 3 because there was someone I can't see. Sorry. Yeah, so Donkel ran out of power. He ran out of ERS in the car, and it just sort of, I wouldn't say grinded to a halt, but it's like someone put the brake on.
Right, well, we're riding on board now for P3 position challenge here by Hans van der Berg on Marco Pullen, and these guys not pulling any punches here. This is very fast and close.
Yeah, it's good stuff. These guys obviously on the same strategy for now, at least, and yeah, they are racing sort of like for like at the moment.
So very interesting fight going on here. Marco Pullen defending very convincingly. Good driver, Marco. Just can't always deliver the consistency. He has moments of absolute inspiration, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was sort of. I remember the first race I commentated on in Hungary last season. Him and his teammate Nicky Visser at the time. Yeah, I think they had sort of quite unlucky races, both of them. And
yeah,
yeah,
very much so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hope that sort of bad luck doesn't sort of stay with him too long into this season. I don't think it has. I don't think it will. Van der Berg up the inside.
With Van der Berg trying to get on the inside of that entry into the chicane, but Pullen convincingly holding him off there. You're not coming through, mate. Just live with it.
Yeah, squeezed him out, but he's absolutely entitled to do so. He's got the right of way there.
Absolutely. And look at this. He's trying to go. And Pullen goes wide. He goes wide. Gives Van der Berg the opportunity to jump in ahead of him. And that was such a shame, really was. And that was as they were coming round turn 11.
Yeah, he gifted him that. He just sort of threw away his hard work that he just done to defend so well against Hans. But yeah, he's just given him the position. That was a bit unfortunate and a bit lucky for Van der Berg.
Well, I say lucky. I mean, he was laying down the pressure, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You put down the pressure to make the guy ahead of you make that sort of mistake that he wouldn't normally do.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're quite right. You're quite right. Yeah, fair play to Hans, and yeah, he's as you say, he's twisted the screw, he's put the pressure on, and forced the error.
He has, but fantastic defending, definitely as well from Marco Pullen, as you rightly pointed out, Adrian. I mean, he really was. He was defending that for a good couple of laps easily, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it's not easy to do, especially into turn 7. Is it turn 7 after the long straight?
Yeah, definitely not easy to do. Guido Airshine, he's still battling out with Damie Hartman. Damie Hartman ahead of him, but only by 1.2. And he's looking to make the move there, and he's letting. Who was that? Was he letting Baz
Hartman? No, Hartman's just passed Donkel into 7.
And Airshine going wide out of the Mistral chicane there. Not too sure what's happening with him there. Donkel's got ahead of him, and yeah, that was a bit weird because Donkel just easily sort of went. I don't know whether he went a little bit pear-shaped or what happened there, but Donkel gets ahead of him. He's now closing in on the back of Damie Hartman. So, yeah, that was a bit odd.
Yeah, it was a bit. And actually, Donkel's on for a fastest lap of the race. He just set purple first and second sectors.
Well, he certainly seems to be flying in that Renault at this moment in time. I mean, that's why I was a little bit surprised when he made that move on Erskine, because it just looked quite pedestrian Erskine was going at, but I'm sure he wasn't. But, yeah, Donkel's dialed it up, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah,
fastest lap, 135.9.
Yeah, literally, he's left himself with nothing in the engine now. I know I keep mentioning the ERS, and he's actually just got a 3-second penalty for cutting turn 2. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's probably dialing down the ERS and trying to replenish it now that he's got that little bit closer to Hartman and got past Erskine. I think that was his challenge, was to get convincingly past Erskine, and with that in mind, I think he's pretty convincingly done that now.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah, he's certainly completed that objective. I think his next target is going to be Hartman.
Yeah, he's 1.3 seconds
tires.
off. Same tyres, same age. So as are all of these guys here from 5, 6 and 7. Baz the Breen, obviously, he's a little bit further down the road to Donkel, about 8 seconds down the road. Seb Bogart and Rob Mouldering still leading this race. Let's have a quick look at these two guys. So
Eddie,
now...
Peter Phillips has just passed Ershine, just out of the chicane.
Oh, he has?
In the DRS. Yeah, he just whizzed by.
I'm wondering if Ershine's having some issues there. I don't know. It's interesting, but Peter Phillips now gets past Ershine, assumes that P8 position, and Dronig is now closing in on the back of Ershine. And it looks to me as if he's not able to get the grip on those tyres. He's just going really wide and slow through that final sector.
Yeah, I don't quite know what it is. I don't know if there's some issue with the car, the setup perhaps, or or just the tyres themselves.
He was
not
doing
able
so
to get the most
well
out of
in
them.
quali, wasn't he? I mean, this is the thing. He had the setup for quali and put down some really good times, but it's just he doesn't seem to be seem to have the confidence at this moment in time.
Yeah, I can't really.
And look at this! I mean, look at that!
Yeah.
Out of 6 into 7 before he even gets to the DRS point, Dronig was straight past him. So is it that I don't know? It's just that exit of 6-7, he is incredibly slow at this moment in time.
Yeah, I don't know really what else to say about that. It's it's a strange one because he was doing so well, and then I don't know.
Odd. I don't know. Could be having issues. Maybe he might have some winglet damage and doesn't want to come into the pits. It could be that as well. Obviously, not sufficient to warrant coming into the pits and losing the time. But if he's got any sort of damage on there, and he's lost 3 places in the past 3 laps at least.
Yeah, it would make sense to. I'd probably even just pit and go onto the soft tyres and try and make them last, and fix the damage, and just do it. The sooner you do that, the better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Baz de Breen 3.4 seconds off the back of Hans van der Berg, who is currently in P3. He's on the soft set of tyres. Seb Bogart has come in and pitted and gone on to a fresh set of super softs. He's looking for the undercut on Rob Mouldering, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He might get it actually. I mean, he's only 19 and a half. I think it's the 20-second sort of pit stop. So I think if he can do some super fast laps right now, I think that's going to be his opportunity.
Well, Mouldering is exiting turn 11 now into 12 in that final sector 3. The question is he going to pit now or is he going to stay out? 19.4 seconds.
It'd be silly.
The difference.
It'd be silly not to come in and just mitigate the advantage that Bogart will have from the undercut.
No,
he's staying out. He is staying out.
He's going to try and put down as fast a lap as he can. He wants to open up that gap. That's what he's looking to do, but he's on 16-lap-old super softs.
Yeah, he's not going to on older tyres. I think.
And now he is losing time. He's already 4/10. 6/10.
He needed to respond to Seb coming in. He needed to respond by coming in the following lap, and he hasn't done that.
And he's not going to do himself any favours the longer he stays out, because he's just going to progressively lose more and more time. As Seb Bogart just starts to zoom in on him, really. He's going to start, radar on. He's ahead of me. Let's go. Foot down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just keeping an eye on the lap times. Mouldring's last lap was a 37.4. Presuming that he comes in this lap, I won't count this lap. I just want to see what Bogart's going to do on sort of his lap now. How much time he can eat away into that 37.4. Looks like it's going to be about 2 seconds.
Well, Mouldering is in sector 3 now, but he's already lost about a good, it was 1.5 seconds, so it's around about 1 second now, the difference from the previous lap that he's lost had he pitted. I mean, that may not sound a lot, but That's a hell of a lot of time he's lost there, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
and he's still
difficult
staying
to,
out. He's
and he's
staying
staying out again. That's a 37.6, so he's lost 2/10 on himself on that lap as the tyres are wearing away. We're just going to see sort of Bogard come across the line. I think this is going to be something like a 35.5. No, not quite so fast. 36.3. So, I mean, he's gained 1.3 on that lap.
He's just coming up on the back marker there of John Muss. So John Muss in the sights now. Seb Bogart as they're coming out sector 1. Not sector 1, what am I saying? Third sector now. Sorry, sector 1, yeah, into sector 2. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting indeed. I mean, Mouldering is just progressively losing more and more time, and this is just time that he needs to have in that pit. It just does not compute.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. It's all very well sort of criticising the driver for staying out when he needs to come in, but when you're in the car and you're racing and all you're trying to do is drive as fast as you possibly can, and you know you see that a driver is sort of 17 and a half seconds behind you. Yeah, it's difficult to sort of think about strategy sometimes. I know that's a part of racing, and it is something that you have to do as a driver. And I think Mouldering will start to sort of develop in that way. But at the moment, yeah, it's I think he's again kind of shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah, definitely. So we, while all that is going on, I've actually seen here that we've got some serious action going on once again between Damie Hartman and Marco Pullen for that 5th place. And Hartman is really hassling that Force India as it stands at this moment in time. He is not giving him any break whatsoever.
He's on a mission, isn't he, Damie? He had a bit of an issue at the end of Q2. Wasn't able to participate in Q3. Started P10, and yeah, he's just he's doing his absolute best to maintain as much of his lead in the championship as he possibly can, and he's doing a fine job right now.
Well, yeah, lest we forget.
Yeah,
he's definitely on a mission. I'd say he probably needs to dial down the enthusiasm by about 10%, but you know, other than that. But look, I mean, he's making the move. He's side by side as they're coming to Mr. Chicane, makes the move, gets past Marco Pullen, goes up into that 5th place position. He is defending that 20-point lead that he has at this moment in time to Rob Mouldering, and that's really important because Rob Mouldering is currently now leading the race, albeit temporarily, we believe, but certainly second, and he's in.
Yep.
So Rob Mouldering comes in. So the question is now is where is Seb Bogart? He's on the start-finish straight. Now he will take that 1st place from Rob Mouldering. But what about Hans van der Berg? He's not quite there. Yes, I think he will as well. I think Hans van der Berg could stand a chance as well. No! Look at that! No, will he? Won't he? Will he? Won't he? Oh, he just misses it. Rob Mouldering, only just though, has to be said, only just gets out of that in front of that Williams, doesn't he? Oh, and look, he's made the move into turn 3. He's trying to get into him. No, he can't. Can he do it round 6? He's really laying down the pressure here.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Because sort of Mouldering just didn't pay attention to Bogart coming in. He's now finding himself battling to defend his P2 when he should in fact be battling for P1. We
want to come across the back marker now. John Muss in that McLaren. Blue flags obviously coming on. Mouldering gets past him. Van der Berg is past him, but now, and he picks up 3 second time penalty because he went wide, went onto that right-hand side of that turn there. And I think he's got a couple of the penalties now. I think he's got at least 6 seconds worth of penalties as it stands. I think Moldering may have one. But yeah, this is interesting now, as you rightly say. And look who's winning here. I mean, Seb Bogart, 11.2 seconds down the road to Moldering.
Yeah. Can you remember where he was before the pit stops?
Well, if memory serves me correctly, he was only about, well, he was within a second or thereabouts, 2 seconds max.
Yeah, he was behind him by a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now he's finding himself 12 seconds ahead because Moldering just did not react to Bogart coming in the pit. But Moldering had in his mind he was going to pit at the end of lap 19, no matter what, and that has cost him.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and you are rightly saying there, it is so difficult. You know, these guys do not have a team effectively in the background advising them. I mean, you got Jeff, but to be honest, he's not worth much. Let's be fair. Bless him. You know what I mean? Bless Jeff, but Jeff, you're a waste of space, mate. When it comes to a multiplayer game, just forget it.
His knowledge is, albeit accurate, it is quite limited in what he can tell you. And that's no fault of his own or indeed the Codemasters themselves or anyone. It's difficult to sort of get a kind of live. You need an actual human being really in your ear telling you what is going on.
Yeah, you do, very much so, and it does make it uber difficult, as you say. I mean, I think that's where the guys that win out a lot of times, not only are they fast, but they're able to react to the information they receive whilst they are actually in the game and respond accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we're just riding on board with John Donkel now, and he's been getting close and personal with Marco Pullen in that Force India, and I think it's not going to be too long before he's going to be looking to make the move on there. But interestingly enough, Marco Pullen is on substantially older soft tyres there, isn't he? He's the longest runner at this moment in time. He's started on these softs.
Yeah, only Pullen and Van der Berg have not pitted, and of course they were the two that started on the hardest, the soft tyre. Yeah. I don't know. I don't quite know how far they can go. I think they've probably still got about another 10 laps in them, to be fair.
Yeah, we were discussing that a little bit earlier on. How deep could they go on that? And it's always a bit of a judgment call, to be brutally honest. But I would have expected them to be able to go certainly to the mid-30s. I would have thought, anyway, from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I think John Donk was looking at the pass on Pullen actually into turn 9, I believe.
Yeah, and Pullen really does go really wide in the entry to that 11 to sort of wind it down, but he leaves himself open for attack on that entry into 11 when he takes that line, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I've noticed that in the last few laps actually. Yeah, he just goes a little bit wide. Leaves himself open.
I know what he's doing. He's looking to cut the apex as he's coming round on 11 and dial it up on the exit, which is fine, but you're leaving yourself a little bit open. There's that split second gap there. And John Donkel now is also under pressure from Peter Phillips, more importantly, because Peter Phillips is now 1/10 off the back of John Donkel. And we've seen Peter Phillips recently. His racecraft has really improved in leaps and bounds. And he is no longer a driver that you see at the back of this race thinking, okay, if he makes the move, that's great. But this man can make the move, and he could do it on John Donkel.
Yeah, he's showing us that he is a racer. It's really good to see. I hope I don't sort of sound like I'm patronising Peter, but he's doing really well and very much worthy of that P8. I think he might get a few more positions in this race. I just want to point out while this battle was going on for P6. They were held up slightly by the back mark of John Muss. He actually got a 5-second stop-go penalty for ignoring blue flags. You get 3 warnings to let the drivers behind past, and if you don't, you get
Yeah.
a 5 second stop go, and that's what's happened.
So he's got a 5 second stop go. Hans van der Berg, though, is now 2.5 seconds off the back of Rob Moldrink, and he's come into the pit. So van der Berg is now
Right.
off those tyres, 22 laps old. Now, this is interesting. Baz de Breen comes through, he'll assume P3. Damie Hartman comes through, he'll take P4. Pullen through.
Pullen's doing an excellent job in terms of his ERS management. Really, really well managed.
Now, that's interesting. Van der Berg's gone on to the super softs.
Right, well, that will be another stop required then. That's the 2-stop strategy for Van der Berg. Yeah, I think he didn't really have any other option, because if you go onto the ultra soft, you've still got to stop again anyway, and you can't go onto another soft because you started on the soft. So I think he's going to do 2 fairly short super soft stints. Oh, John Dockle very wide. Sorry, very wide out of the exit. I think he might need to give that position back.
Yeah, he's got to give it back, I think, to Pullen.
Well, the game will tell him.
Oh, no, well, it will tell him. He'll
If it
be
was
advised.
illegal.
Yeah, he'll be advised whether it was illegal or legal or whatever. But Dunkel is ahead at this moment in time of Marco Pullen up into P5. Damie Hartman is in that P4 position. Okay, so we know that those softs can go certainly 22 laps. 23 laps, Marco Pullen still. Damie Hartman on 16, so he's got at least 7 laps left in those tyres, hasn't he? To try and see if he can close down to Baz de Breen, and equally, the same goes for Baz de Breen.
Yeah, it's interesting actually seeing them when the drivers come in. It gives you an indication of sort of how long these tyres can last, and I think you've pretty much sort of hit that on the head there actually.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that one then pans out, because obviously then that will be in the likes of who will it bring back in again? Because I'm just looking at this. Those super soft runners are going to have to be coming in pretty soon. So that's Peter Phillips. Seb Bogart is certainly convincing lead there. I think Pullen, actually. I think we might see Pullen move up into that P3 position.
Yeah, could do. It's interesting that he hasn't actually pitted yet. He's making these tyres. Well, they're still on in the car, so he's making them last. Oh, yeah, it's Peter Phillips. Peter Phillips up the inside.
Oh yeah, look at this.
Brave.
Right up on the inside, gets past Marco Pullen.
Pullen
goes wide. Well, Pullen went wide. He was just, I think he wasn't forced wide, but he went wide to avoid any sort of contact. And Phillips comes through. Nothing untoward there. I think it was Pullen just being uber cautious, really. Doesn't want to have a situation, because we know all too often that has ruined his race for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're quite right. It was a good, either way, it's still a good move from Phillips to even attempt that. That's great stuff.
So Phillips moves up to P6, and Pullen's in P7. Phillips now going to be looking to close back down onto John Dunkel, who he was challenging a little bit earlier on. Damie Hartman's in that P4 position, pretty much solo at the moment. 5 seconds to Dunkel behind, 5 seconds to de Breen in front, so he's pretty much doing his own thing there. Baz de Breen pretty much equal as well, because he's 6 seconds off the back of Rob Moldrink, so he's doing his own thing. Rob Moldrink, though, 14 seconds now the gap to Seb Bogart. He will have the advantage, obviously, on those tyres, though, won't he? Because if we're saying he can go to 26 laps, he's got 20 laps remaining on those. And Seb Bogart's probably got, let's say, 10, 12 laps remaining on his. So he will take that place back. But now, what does Seb Bogart do? He's got a 14-second gap. This is a role reversal to what we were looking at earlier with Mouldering versus Seb on what possibly might happen on their pits.
Yeah, I think Mouldering has got I mean, Mouldering has got a bit of an opportunity to sort of redeem himself because he, he didn't react to Bogart's pit. He stayed out and remained on his strategy. That gives him a slight advantage in terms of the next stint. There's actually yellows in sector 3. I'm just trying to see who those are for. Can't see.
And I think that was not Kevin Van Delft.
I don't know.
I think it was actually.
Van Delft retired.
He retired, didn't he, earlier? Sorry,
that
that was quite early on. Sorry. I saw something go a bit wibbly wobbly, but I didn't know who it was. Right, sorry.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I was just saying.
Yeah,
Mouldering. So he's got a bit of an opportunity now then to redeem himself because he's given himself a slight advantage by remaining on his strategy. He can effectively still carry out his strategy. Bogart's on slightly older tyres for that reason. I don't think it's enough of an advantage for Mouldering to be able to make up 14 seconds, but it's going to be a bit closer than it is now. I think this is probably how it is going to end.
I don't know, because ultimately at the end of the day, we know that Mouldering or Bogart will probably have his final lap at the end of this with the super softs. I think we can pretty much agree on that one.
Yes.
Mouldering, obviously, he's probably got another 2 stops. So one to make and then another final one for the final stint. We've got, what are we, 48, 20. Actually, it's not that bad. We've got 35 laps remaining. I'm wondering if he's not looking to take these softs to the end.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in his mind to try and do, but to do that he's going to have to manage them very well, and by doing that he might find himself under pressure from debris behind him.
I think he definitely will come under pressure from debris. I think he will back off, but he's going to maintain that gap so that he has an edge still on that pit, because that is where he's going to make it up, is that obviously one less pit stop.
Yes. Yeah, by pitting considerably later than Bogart, he's able to sort of get himself into that sort of next window. So he's trying to earn himself a free pit stop, which might have been his strategy sort of all along.
Well, I've got to say, obviously, we were very much critical of his strategy when he didn't respond to Bogart. If that is the case, then obviously he was bang on, but that still leaves the fact that he's going to be looking to go 35 laps on those soft tyres.
Yeah, I think he can do that. We've seen who did we see? Pullen do 27 laps on his tyres, and that was from the start of the race.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you could say in the final stint you can do a
less
few more
fuel,
because you've got much less fuel.
Yeah, less weight. Yeah, that is true. So it is certainly doable, but he's going to have to maintain that gap. He doesn't really want to leave that gap any bigger than 18 seconds. And ideally, well, where he is now, but less if he can.
Yeah, I think he's made himself. He's made things kind of slightly more difficult for himself than they probably needed to be. But if this is his strategy, then the best of luck to him, I'm sure.
Well, let's just quickly on board with Hans van der Berg making the move there on Peter Phillips for P6, just as they coming the approach to the Mistral chicane. So van der Berg takes P6 from Peter Phillips. Not a lot Phillips could do there. Perfectly, just outpaced, unfortunately, on that DRS. But Van der Berg, he's on 5-lap-old super softs. What do you think he's looking to do here?
I think he's going to have to.
Super soft run.
Yes, yeah. He started on the what tire did he start? He started on the soft tire, didn't he?
He did,
Yes,
yeah.
I think he's certainly going to do super soft again. Yeah, that certainly is.
Be interesting to see how that one
Straight.
pans out. And we're running now with Donkel in 5th, Hartmann in 4th, and De Bruyne in 3rd. They're all on more or less equally old tyres. 22 laps on all of them there on these soft tyres. They're going to be looking to come in probably in the next 5-6 laps maybe.
Yes, something like that. Yes, yeah, certainly. Unless they are trying to sort of stretch themselves out into the next window, try and perhaps get on an ultra soft run at the end. But
well, that's going to be interesting because that could well push Van der Berg back up to P4 and Phillips to P5. Maybe even a bit higher actually, depending upon. I don't know. I think that might be. I don't think they'll get out ahead of De Bruyne, but they should get out ahead certainly of Hartmann and Donkel. So that's going to add another element to that. And the question is now is what are these guys going to do that are on the super soft runs? Do you think one of them's going to risk going on to that ultra soft, depending upon how deep they go, obviously?
Yeah, I don't think Bogart's even thinking of the ultra soft, but yeah, I mean, Van der Berg might be. Peter Phillips, I don't think he is. I think he's planning to do possibly 3 or 4 more laps on this stint, and then in for another set of supers. And that's him done. Marco Pullen back there in P11, he's been on these tyres for 3 laps. I think he might be trying to get these to the end. I think that might be his strat there, which I think is doable. We could actually see him sort of quite far up the order if he does manage to pull that off. And Peter Phillips is actually in. He's in slightly earlier than I thought he was coming in. He's on for another set of supers.
Yeah, Phillips is in onto another set of supers, we think. Yes, he is. He's onto another set of supers, as you right to say there. Yeah, I mean, Pullen, even with the best will in the world, he's only really going to be able to get up to P8. But that said, it is points.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's a good call if he is able to do that.
I think he has certainly the opportunity to do that. Dronig, he's down in P10 at this moment in time. He's on 2-lap-old softs, so he's looking to go to the end. Certainly Dronig on those ones. Stappers is going to need to pit. He's on 21-lap-old softs. Mind you, that said, it wouldn't surprise me if he went to the end on those softs, but we'll see how that goes. Peter Phillips, as you know, he's come in, he's gone onto a fresh set of super softs, and he's zoning in on the back of that Ferrari of Parder Cooper. Quite close between these midfield guys, 10, 9, 8, 7. They are very, very close indeed. Oh, and John Donkel gets past Van der Berg. There's a fight going on here between Donkel and Hans Van der Berg for P5, and yes, Hans Van der Berg gets ahead of Donkel. Was said that his next target was there. I didn't quite expect him to close on him that quick though. And Donkel's coming back. Donkel coming back into T1.
Very late on the brakes there, Van der Berg. Well defended actually into turn 1. That was really good.
So Hans Van der Berg gets past John Donkel, moves up into P5, and that's quite important actually for Van der Berg, because that's opened up a different part of this race for him now, I think.
It has indeed, yeah. And while that's been going on, Peter Phillips was looking at the move on Parder Cooper on the same turn 1. He was side by side with him as they crossed the start and finish. Didn't quite manage to get past. Oh, there's contact there. There's contact.
Oh, dearie me! Contact, Parder Cooper goes off. Phillips, and I don't know what happened there. I think Parder Cooper it looked like he went into a spin ahead of Phillips there. It looked like he lost traction and he just went across the front of him.
Yeah, no, there was contact. The rear left wheel of the Ferrari Parder Cooper made contact with the front right of Peter Phillips, and just sort of kind of ignored the fact that he was there, and pulled across him, and unfortunately, Harder came off much worse.
Well, that could be something the stewards might look at the end of this race. But, well, Peter Phillips does move up to P10. Martin Parder-Cooper drops down to 12. Pullen is still there in P9, but he's closing in on Stappers. Stappers on the back of Dronig. So still a fight going on for P7 and P8. And a little bit ahead, we've got 14-second gap still Mouldering. So Mouldering is maintaining that gap to Bogart at this moment in time, around about the sort of the 14-second mark. Indeed, he's actually closing it down. He's just dropped into the 13 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's just as Bogart's tyres are getting older, and obviously they're wearing out slightly faster. They're super soft versus Mouldering soft tyres.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens on that. Pullen still on the back of Stappers, and he is determined to get past him. But equally, Stappers is close in on the back of Dronig. This is quite interesting here. Points are available, let's not forget. And points do certainly make prizes. So very important, these position changes for these guys, aren't they? I mean, they're only in the midfield, but it is just as important.
Oh yeah, I mean, you earn earn sort of twice as many points for 9th as you do for 10th, and twice as many for 8th as you do for 9th. So yeah, it's big points up for grabs for these sort of midfield runners.
Well, real fight going on here between the Force India, Sauber and the Haas. Somewhat of a duplication to what we're seeing, obviously, with the Haas and the Sauber at this moment in time. Seb Bogart still leading the way, but he will have to pit before Rob Mouldering, and at this moment in time, Mouldering will take that P1 position. Question is can he go to the end on those soft tyres? Hans van der Berg, he's in P3, he's 26 seconds, he's a pit stop behind Rob Mouldering at this moment in time. He's probably got at least another maybe 10, 12 laps left in those super softs. How much can he close down to Mouldering? And he's looking at a podium position as it stands at this moment in time. John Donkel behind him, P4. He's on 25 lap old soft, so it's going to be tough, I think, for John. He's going to have to pit. Is Hans van der Berg be able to go, 30 laps on those super softs, or is he going to have to pit? We think he's going to go super soft, so it's tight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think Van der Berg might be looking to try and make those tyres last. It's gonna be difficult. Yeah, they're gonna be at something like 80 or 90% wear, if not completely burst by that point. But I think that is on his mind at the moment. The sensible thing would certainly be to go on to another set of supers and finish sort of P5, P6. But,
well, we'll see where that comes out.
De Bruyne and Hartman, by the way. Sorry, De Bruyne and Hartman both pitted simultaneously actually on that lap.
They have. So they have pitted and both gone on to a set of super softs. So they did twin stop there. Hartman clearly responding to De Bruyne responding to Hartman, whichever way around you want to look at it. So they both gone for a fresh set of super softs. Definitely looking to go to the end of this race. 18 laps. That's ideal territory for these super softs now.
Yeah. De Bruyne actually fastest in the last sector. It's a purple third sector. Looking like it's probably going to be a purple first sector as well.
So
it's a bit of help from Donkel.
We are 2/3 of the way through this race now. This is F1 Tonight, the only full race distance league that we know of, certainly on Xbox, and I still have yet to be corrected on that, or indeed on any format. I'm not too sure who does do the 100% races, but F1 Tonight certainly do. This is race 8, season 5. We are here at the Paul Ricard circuit in France, and it has been a fantastic race, I have to say. This course can obviously stretch the drivers out, but we've seen some great action, not only up front, but some real midfield action as well, haven't we?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we've seen battles with Peter Phillips, Marco Pullen, Marcel Dronig, even. It's been as many of these races are. It's been sort of non-stop action, start to finish. I just want to point out as well, Debris and Donkel have switched places, a bit of sort of team orders down the
Oh,
down
no,
the
actually,
straight.
Donkel's coming into the pits. So that's
And
why he
Donkel's in the pit
released the
anyway.
green. Yeah, so
Yes,
he's released
yeah,
his teammate
absolutely.
because he was coming into the pits. Good move there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously working as a team, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're probably the most sort of in tune team we have at the moment in F1 tonight, and that is why they are as high up in the constructors as they are. But as I said earlier on, both drivers in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. They're certainly not to be miscounted in any way, shape, or form for this championship. And I'm sure that Renault are going to be strong contenders. And I've got to be honest, you did call it before the season even started when you saw the driver lineup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just basing that on sort of how they were in the last few races of the previous season, and the fact that they have gelled so well. I mean, I know they know each other sort of very well, um, before the start of this season, of course. But yeah, they just seem to work very well together.
Well, John on that fresh set of super softs is now zoning in on the back of Marco Pullen as they're coming through the Mistral chicane, and he's clearly going to be looking to make a move on that Force India as soon as he possibly can. And it is important, he needs to try and get as many track positions as he possibly can now on this final stint, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got to work hard and just put some good laps in. Not try to get don't let himself get stuck behind traffic for too long. But equally, you don't want to frustrate yourself either.
Well, as we've said, Seb Bogart has come in. He's gone on to set of softs. He's now 8 seconds behind Rob Muldrink, who is now leading this race on 17 lap old softs. He's got 8.5 seconds. What is he going to do now?
I think what he is going to do is wonder about the start of this sort of the first stint and what he probably should have done. That's probably what he's going to be thinking about, because he should have won this race. Or he should be in a sort of better position to where he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, he started P2, but he had a phenomenal start and got ahead before they'd even got into turn 1, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Guido Ershine just gone he cut the final corner massively, actually. I don't wonder what's up with
he went very wide
car
there. He's on 10 lap old
went
super softs. I'm wondering if he's got issues with his wear on his tyres, and it'll be interesting to get feedback from him. We always get very honest commentary and feedback from Guido Ershine, the Force India driver. But it's all a question about progression. I mean, do you know what? I look at it and I think he is fast, but I'm wondering if his setup and balance that he has on his cars affect his tyre. So he goes for mechanical grip as opposed to actual, the physical tyre grip, and that's where he has his issues. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it could well be. Yeah, no, it did make sense. Yeah, that's an interesting point to be fair. Well, it's a 5-second stop go for Guido as well.
Corner cutting there, gets a 5-second stop go. Not what he's looking for at this moment in time. He's down in P13. Unfortunately, not being a race, but it's such a shame because he did set phenomenal qualifying times. He was up there, in the top 4.
Yeah, well, Peter Phillips is in the pit. It's a new front wing for the Toro Rosso man.
Yeah,
I think he's got himself involved in something.
So Peter Phillips comes in, new nose onto that. Stapper's in as well, so that may have been an incident with himself and Stappers. And Stappers has also got looks like a stop-go that he's serving as well.
Yeah, serving a stop-go.
So
I think
John Donkel in the meantime, John Donkel has got ahead on the DRS approaching the Mistral chicane. So John Donkel gets ahead of Marco Pullen now and is released into P7. And Marcel Dronig is the next man down the road to him, but he's 23 seconds away. We've got 14 laps remaining. Can John close down that gap? I mean, he's on super softs, but can he do it? 23 seconds?
Probably
No,
not,
he can't.
yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably
It'd be
not
over 2
quite that
seconds
much.
a lap.
It's a
It
bit
just wouldn't.
ambitious.
That is a bit ambitious. So I think John
Yeah.
Donkel needs to seal that deal there in P7. Barring any incident, obviously Dronig is looking to go to the end. He's only on 9 lap old soft, so he should maintain that position. He's pretty safe there at this moment in time. Can he close into Davey Hartman, who's ahead of him in P5? He's looking to go to the end on those super softs. And, Hans van der Berg drops down behind Bas de Breen. Bas de Breen makes the move on Van der Berg on track. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's on that fresher set of super softs, isn't he?
He is. Yep. He is. I definitely saw someone leave the session. I wonder if it was Van der Berg.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way, didn't it? I mean, it looked like there was a bit of twitchiness going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure there. I just want to point out, actually, for anyone wondering why Seb Bogard came in for a set of soft tyres with about 18 laps to go, which you could say is easily in the super soft window. It's because he's not allowed to use another set of super soft. He has to use a different tyre because
we've
he'd
got
be
yellows on the start
otherwise.
finish straight. Yellows on the start finish straight on the coming out of the pits. Greens as they come into turn one. So looks like somebody may have gone into the barriers there, or maybe debris on the start finish straight.
That is, I don't want to say this word, but that is a glitch. That is a fake yellow flag that is presented there. It's nowhere else on the track. Nobody else sees it. Just you only see it as you go past there, and it doesn't come up in your screen.
Okay, so thanks, Codemasters. Anyway, moving on. Bas de Breen, obviously, he's in that third place. He's got 23 seconds. He's not going to be able to close down to Seb Bogart. But the question here now is, Seb Bogart, 4 seconds off the back of Rob Mouldring. He's halved that gap in, 2-3 laps?
Yeah. Yeah, he's gained 1.8 on just the last lap alone. He is going to overtake him on track. Mouldering is certainly going to go, thinking about going to the end of this race. Yeah, Mouldering has no intention of coming in. I think we're seeing a similar strategy to what we saw from him at Monaco, where he sort of stayed out and out to maintain the position. I think it'd be a much easier overtake here in France than it was at sort of, just a few miles down the road at Monaco. But,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got plenty of space.
You've got plenty of space, but that's only if the driver ahead of you is willing to give you space.
Oh well, it'd have no. I don't think it'd have any option up the sort of DRS zone. If Bogart can get good exit.
You think we're looking at a Mistral? We're looking at a DRS overtake either into the Mistral or into turn one then.
Oh, absolutely, certainly at Mistral. I think. I know I told you earlier on that I won my race at France in Synergy. I started from P12 and every single one of my overtakes was on that straight under DRS.
Yeah. It says it all, really. It does. It does make such a difference. And actually, changing the subject, I'm giving a big shout out to the Synergy PWR crew. Fantastic racing from them. They race on a Tuesday and a Wednesday evening. I was commentating for them last night on their Vintage Classic Cup, and I've got to say, their C3 class, the 70s cars, fantastic wheel-to-wheel action in those old V10 aspirated with the
they were. That's right. Yeah,
what do you call it? Oh my God! I've lost the word. What's the word I'm looking for, Adrian?
I'm not too sure.
Turbos. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, ironically, actually, I think the in the C3 class, we were talking about this actually in our Synergy chat. I think they're actually all naturally aspirated. I know that the McLaren used a turbocharger from 1983, but the model that's in the game is the 1982 version, which I think was naturally aspirated.
What about the 79 Lotus though? That's got turbo on it, hasn't it?
I will tell you in 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it does.
I didn't think it had. I didn't think it had, but yeah, I could also be wrong.
I could be wrong. Certainly the 17 does. But anyway, it was fantastic close racing. It really was. And it just, to me, and the reason I bring it up is the DRS. I know DRS does bring a lot, but it only brings a lot to this current type of F1 car, if you see what I mean. It would be nice if we could do away with that and actually see, on track, close drafting and overtaking moves, because that's the thing, there's no drafting.
Yeah, you're quite right. There isn't. Yeah, it's a bit more difficult when you aren't able to sort of draft.
I mean, I know that with the 2019 reg changes that does help somewhat, but you don't see the same sort of drafting and overtaking moves that, and I'm gonna say it, but people are probably going to curse me for it, like you see in the Indy series.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. The thing is, the whole point of making the cars sort of less susceptible to the dirty air was to avoid the extreme loss of grip that they do suffer when sort of drafting behind. Obviously, the downside of that is you're probably going to have fewer overtakes on the straights, but you could, in theory, have more overtakes on the corners as drivers get braver because they know that the dirty air isn't going to affect them so much. I think it will still be an exciting.
Yeah, but then again, you've got the problem of the marbles when you go off racing line round corners.
Yeah, but you're always going to have that, whether you've got the ability to draft behind or
true, that is true. That's going to happen anyway. Well, whilst we're having a little bit of a discussion there as to what the do's and the don'ts and the shoulds and the shouldn't do's of F1 past, current and future, I think we did the whole shebang there. Actually,
we did.
Bit of a Back to the Future moment there. That was Back to the Future 5, presented by myself and Adrian. So back to reality now. We're on lap 44 of 53. Seb Bogart is now 1.1. Sorry, I stand corrected. 0.854 off the back of Rob Mouldering as they're coming through the 3, 4, 5 turns. Surely this is the one now for Seb Bogart.
Yeah, I think even if he doesn't pass it, he's got plenty of time to do it. He can just sit behind him for a while, and I don't think he's going to make the same mistake twice in terms of what he did, or what actually happened between the drivers at Monaco.
Look at this, makes the move into the Mistral chicane. Nowhere for Mouldering to hide there.
Well done.
Mouldering's going to be looking to come back to him, isn't he?
He can try. He hasn't got the grip to do it.
He's going to give it a damn good go, I'll tell you that now. Oh, he's very susceptible, picking up 3-second time penalties. He's already picked up one. He's going to pick up another one there. He's just not got the grip, has he? As you rightly said, Adrian.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
now,
the sensible thing...
if I was him, coming now, surely, and go into those ultra softs. Do it now, quickly, respond now. Come in, go on those ultra softs.
Yeah, of course he won't, because he's got 23 seconds behind him, which he probably feels is quite comfortable, but that can easily be eaten up in just a few laps, especially if your tyres really start to sort of fall away. You could end up finding yourself losing 5 seconds a lap.
He's going to have to make a decision, and he needs to make a decision now. And that's why I was saying, if he came in, went into those ultra softs, he was safe. He would still have come out ahead of Baz Breen, and he would be on a much faster tyre, and could potentially close down that gap if Seb Bogart made any sort of error.
Yeah. But as you and me and probably our viewers know, Rob Mouldering is probably one of the most notoriously stubborn drivers in terms of his strategy and tyre choices.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, to be fair, strategies have won him races, so you can't knock him for that.
Absolutely. But let's not forget what happened to Australia.
Yeah.
played the strategy game to perfection, beating. I think he beat Damien Hartman to the line under that.
And
No, De
last,
Bruyne, wasn't it? It was Baz
yeah,
De Bruyne.
it was Baz De Bruyne. Well, Damien Hartman did actually finish second, but yeah, and in that particular race. But Canada last week, let's not forget, he took the win last week, so he's really on a run, and it's important for him because Damien Hartman is down in P4. So, you know, Damien Hartman at this moment in time is only 20 points ahead of him. And, well, P4, he's only going to pick up 12 points. Muldering, as it stands at this moment in time, will pick up 18 points. But he really wants that pole. He wants to get Seb Bogard. But I think that's gone from him now, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think it went from him on about lap 18.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
When Bogart came in.
And it was just one of those things. He stuck to the strategy. Had he responded, he would be in a much better position. He might not. He'd still be in P2, but he would be in a much better position and be probably challenging.
At the very least, he'd be on the same age tyres, which will give him a much sort of better chance of fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Baz De Bruyne is closing that gap down. It is just over 21.5 seconds. We've only got 6 laps remaining. I mean, I think, you know, Muldering is thinking, yeah, okay, I can stay here, pick up P2, pick up the 18 points. It helps me and moves me that little bit closer at least. But he still needs to go to the end of this race, and those tyres will be pretty much shot.
Yeah, they're not going to be in great condition come the end of this race. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on Muldering to the end. I think myself, just to keep an eye on the tyre. Oh, it looks like he's coming in. He's coming in.
He's coming in. He's coming in.
Going on to the ultras, surely.
He's got to. He's got the gap. He's got to go on to the ultras. But now this is the thing. Baz De Bruyne is coming round sector 3 now. He's into the final corner. He's on that start-finish straight. Muldering still in the pits, coming out now. De Bruyne coming past the pits, and who's going to get past him? De Bruyne moves up into second place. Muldering comes out in P3, and Damien Hartman is challenging him now into turn 1. Hartman takes that third place. Muldering comes back, pips him back, takes that third place back, but Damien Hartman is charging through now as they come down to turn 3. Easily past him. Easily.
Yeah, he had to give it back. He had to give it back. He passed him on the off the track. Yeah.
So, Muldering, unfortunately, strategy has undoubtedly won him races, but I don't think it's going to help him tonight.
No, it's not. I don't think he meant to go on to the supers. I think he meant to go on to the ultra soft. There might have been an issue with the tyre selector, perhaps. I've had that happen before. Looking for the move on the
back on Damien Hartman. Makes the move.
Should do it.
Does make the move, and that was a lovely move that he did there around turn 10. They're winding it up now, round that oxbow of turn 11 into 12, and he's got back onto that third place, but he's going to be disappointed that he didn't get out ahead of De Bruyne, but he should have come in. He should have come in earlier, really. He should have come in that lap earlier.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, there's a couple of mistakes, I think, from Rob. But overall, I mean, you can't deny his pace. His actual racing ability is phenomenal. I mean, he deserves absolutely. To be. He deserves to be at the front of pretty much every race. But yeah, it's just a few bad calls on terms of the strategy has cost him. He could have won this race hands down, 100%.
And just want to go up now to Baz De Bruyne. You got to love this man, you really do. It's, you know, he's in P2. Okay, fair enough. He started there. No, he didn't start there. What am I saying? He didn't start in P2, did he?
I think he did sign P2.
He did sign
Yeah,
P2.
because you had Debris P2 and Donkel P4, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
Second and
Yeah,
fourth.
yeah. So it was 1, 2, and 3 as they are in now, actually. So Seb Bogart was in P1, leads the way. Baz Debris was in P2. Didn't have the best of starts, fell right back, stuck to his strategy, and well, he's back up there. He's more than happy now because I think he was pretty much convinced that he was going to go for that P3 position, but he's P2. He's a happy bunny. Rob Mouldering not so happy, I think, in P3. Still a podium finish, but I don't think he's going to be happy with that.
No, he won't be. You know, he'll be kicking himself really, wondering about what could have happened. Vanderberg's just passed John Donkel, by the way. 4 laps to go. He just passed him into the chicane. Good move.
So Hans Vanderberg moves up to P5. That's up 9 positions, lest we forget it started in P14. Back into racing and back in a different car in a Williams. Good race from him. He's pushing the limits as well. Only to be expected, though. Let's be fair from what we've seen in him before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did so well in his debut. Of course, got a podium, and he started here in 14th on his sort of re-debut, and he's up to P5. So yeah, it seems like the first race back. At any point, he just does him really well.
Yeah, certainly.
So hope he doesn't sort of retire and then rejoin again.
Indeed, let's hope not. Let's see. We see him till the end. See him till the end of this season. Damie Hartman, P4, up 6 places, starting in P10. Lest we forget, he had those technical issues, meant that he couldn't put in the qualifying time, and it was a great shame. Starting in P10, but up 6 places. Great race from Damie Hartman, has to be said. He's recovered well.
Yeah, he's done so well to sort of mitigate the drop or the loss of points. He had issues at the start of Q3, meant he wasn't able to participate, and he, as we said, he was leading the championship by 20 points. So finished in 4th. He's going to end with 12 points. So he only loses.
Sorry,
13.
Adrian, I've got a cut here because I've got Rob Mouldering 2/10 off the back of Baz Debris. He was 4 seconds behind. Clearly, Baz must have made some sort of error, and Rob Mouldering just picking up a 3-second time penalty on the exit of turn 2 there. He's closed it right down. I mean, he's got a 3-second time penalty. I don't know how many Baz has. I shouldn't think he's got.
I can check for you. I don't think Baz has got any.
I don't think he's got any.
No, he's got 1. Sorry, Baz.
He's got 1, and Rob Mouldering has
1 also.
So they are equal, and Rob Mouldering makes the move before they get into the Mistral chicane on the DRS, gets that place back from Baz Debris. Well, that's an interesting one.
That's not easily done as well. So that's that's very well played there from Mouldering. Yeah, great stuff.
It is well played, but then I'm just looking at these tyres now, and then he's on a nice fresh set of super softs, and Baz Debris on 16 lap old super soft. So unfortunately, he probably didn't have the grip to. But that said, it was on the straight. So good move from Mouldering. Yeah, full stop.
Yeah, that's great stuff. As I said earlier on, there's absolutely no denying his racing ability.
Well, we are now on lap 51. 2 laps remaining. We're looking, I think, pretty confident at this moment in time, certainly for first place. I think we could still see something interesting maybe happen for that 2nd and 3rd on the podium. Damie Hartman 4 seconds behind these guys, P4. He's the current championship leader. He'll be picking up 12 points, so that will put him on 115. So he'll still be ahead of the game. Hans Vanderberg on his return in the Williams, P5, looking good there for the 10 points that will be awarded to him for that position. John Donkel, P6, and I don't think John's going to be too unhappy with that. I mean, he did start P4, but it hasn't really been a race for him, has it?
He's had some good moments, and he's also had some bad ones, of course. Yeah, it's been a bit of an indifferent race for him. I feel like he probably could have done better. I think he feels he could have done better. He had the pace in quali, as we said. He was sort of started P4. He wasn't too far off his teammate, but yeah, just in terms of how the race has gone for him, it's just it hasn't quite worked out.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. So, well, we'll see what happens on there. Marcel Dronig, well, he's down in P7, and he dropped down 2 places, started P5. Not been the best of races for him, has it?
No, he had quite a good start. He was up to P4 at one point in the race. Yeah, he looked like he was. Yeah, he got some really good race pace. But again, yeah, in the later stages, he's just, I don't know, dwindled off slightly.
Yeah, he's sort of like that midfield. I think he seems to react pretty well to. Sander Hermans, good race from him. Started P11, moved up 3 places to P8. Good solid race from him as well. Marco Pullen as well in the Force India. He's gained 3 places from 12 to 9. Good solid race from him also, I have to say. And also we've seen some great close racing between these midfield guys, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. There's been sort of 5 or 6 of them in the middle there that have just been battling each other left and right through you know, from start to finish in this race.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And let's get back now to the leaders as Seb Bogart coming into Sector 2, down to the final Sector 1 turns in Sector 2, coming round turn 6 and 7. Great race from Seb Bogart. He got overtaken by Rob Mouldering earlier on, stuck to it, stayed within reasonable distance, stuck to his strategy, and thank you very much. 20 seconds on second place.
Yeah, he's just done. He's sort of done it to perfection, hasn't he? Because he lost out. As we said, didn't have the best of starts. Rob Mouldering had an absolutely blinding start off the line, and should have really sort of taken control of this race. But Bogart put him under extreme pressure, sort of in the early stint, come in reasonably early, probably a couple of laps sort of before his window, or maybe that's just the start of his window. And and Mouldering didn't react, so fair play. Well done to Sebastian.
I've got to say,
deserves a win.
We questioned that call. We weren't too sure once we saw things panning out, but yeah, definitely. I think that cost Mouldering the win. And Seb Bogart takes a convincing win here at Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. This is F1 tonight. The only full race distance league, certainly on Xbox. And our winner this evening, Seb Bogart for Haas. Rob Mouldering crosses the line, takes second. Baz the Breen in the Renault takes third. Those are our podium finishers. Damie Hartman, championship leader, takes fourth. Hans van der Berg
nearly got third.
Nearly got third. Wasn't too far off it. And Hans van der Berg will cross the line. And pretty sure, he'll pick up 5th place there. So
great
valuable points for him. Good return from Hans van der Berg. John Donkel coming round now for Renault will take P6. Marcel Dronig.
And something happened. It's put Van der Berg first, and Bogart are now behind him.
Oh my God! Yeah, it has.
Yeah, we've had that before.
It is a glitch.
It's because Van der Berg left and rejoined. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, exactly. I think that may have been on that Mistral chicane, but we'll see that anyway. So, not too sure how that's going to actually work out on the podium actually now.
Yeah, it's gonna show Van der Berg.
Yeah, it is going to show Van der Berg as the winner.
Champagne.
However,
Yeah.
Seb Bogart was our winner, and Rob Moldrink coming in second, and Baz de Breen coming in third. So a bit of a glitch there. You have to excuse that. I'm sure Hans will take it though, to be fair.
Sebastian's had a few. I'm sure he can give him this one.
Yeah, exactly. But fantastic result there. I mean, Damien Hartman does maintain, obviously, that championship lead now. Rob Moldrink has inched that little bit closer, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, indeed. It could have inched a bit closer still, but yeah, no, he's pulled the gap in slightly.
Yeah, well, this is, I'm just having a look, 90. So, just to recap on this now for the championship, Damien Hartman leads the championship with 115 points. Rob Moldrink is second with 101. So, we'll see what happens on there. There may be some changes to that. Seb Bogart is in third place with 93 points. So, still very close in those top three as it stands at this moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's it's very, very close, close right now.
Yeah, so see what happens with regards to.
Eddie, I know we don't often do this. Don't think we have ever done it.
No, but I think it's a good move that we do take. So please go ahead.
Yeah.
Definitely, Adrian.
For me, driver of the day, personally, has got to go to Van der Berg. Ignore the fact that it's putting him as the winner. I know he didn't win. He actually finished fifth. But yeah, to come from P14, that's pretty good going considering he's been away from the league.
Yeah,
and,
I've got to say,
it's a very good race.
Yeah, it certainly was a good race from him. I've got to say, he did put in a great race, but I've got to put in a shout for Damien Hartman as well, championship leader at this moment in time, because I think he did a grand job. So I think Van der Berg pipped him on that one, but Hartman was very close in behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So great race, and next week we are at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. 3 DRS points there, and definitely a favourite for the drivers, isn't it, Austria?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big fan favourite. I think because it's such a short track as well. It keeps you alert.
Yeah.
It does for me anyway. It's only 9 turns in the track, and 2 of them are sort of merged into one anyway.
Indeed,
turn 3 is really turn 2.
It is pretty fierce. There's no two ways about it. So it's going to be a great race. Certainly looking forward to it. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of action and plenty of collision as well. It normally does take its wounded. It's an unforgiving track, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's quite a difficult beast to tame, but it's one of those that if you do get it right and you get your setup sort of comfortable as well, that is important because the track has such huge camber, like negative camber on some of the corners that can really sort of unsettle the car, and then sort of clipping a curb on the inside will just throw it off.
Yeah, not very pleasant indeed. So. We'll be there next week, next Thursday night. Make sure you join us, 7:30 UK time, 8:30 PM Central European time, same place, but next week we will see you in Austria. Thank you very much. It's a good night from me.
Yeah, and good night from me. Thank you all.
Thank you all and good night.